Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. I'm Libby and I'm back today with hopefully a helpful video all about law applications and my top tips for how to succeed in them. So for a little bit of context, I'm going into my third year of uni studying law, and I have just been through the application cycle in second year for vacation schemes, and also I've interviewed for training contracts off the back of the vacation schemes that I did. So before we get into the video, I wanted to talk to you about today's sponsor, which directly links into this video. Really excited to be working with Mindfull Learning on this week's video, and they have a number of commercial law study guides which are really helpful for going into the application process. So the first guide that they offer is the Commercial Law Application Study Guide, and it has contributions from over 160 legal professionals, and it's an ebook which contains 140 plus pages. It includes 4 detailed chapters on how to approach writing cover letters with examples, an exemplar CV and a CV builder, and 37 successful exemplary cover letters and application answers, including ones for Magic Circle firms and other large firms. And most importantly, the guide has been updated for the 2021 to 22 application cycle. They also have a Commercial Law and Assessment Centre study guide, which gives a great insight on how to approach legal interviews and assessment centres, and it includes contributions from over 200 lawyers and graduate recruitment specialists across the city, and it has contributions from representatives at Clifford Chance, Bird and Bird, Allen and Overy, and Slaughter and May, to name a few. So overall, the 10 chapters provide advice on an assessment centre checklist, over 80 interview questions, and how to prepare for your assessment centre and effectively research the firm, 35 exemplar responses written by trainee solicitors, how to approach case study interviews, financial statements with examples and analysis, how to approach presentations, how to approach group tasks, and 19 end of interview questions. And Mindfull Learning is also set to release a new ebook with law firm profiles, which will be fully bespoke law firm profiles with information on over 50 law firms' business models, annual reports, lateral hires, growth strategies, and much more. I have a code for you guys, which is Liberty35, which will give you 35% off all of these products. And if you're interested in the law firm profiles guide, be sure to sign up for the newsletter, because you will get a notification when that is released as well. They also offer an e-learning platform which offers one-to-one tutoring and help with all of these applications, interviews, and all of that sort of stuff, which you can find out a little bit more about on their website, and I will link everything in the description down below. So thank you again to Mindfull Learning for sponsoring today's video. So let's get into some of my top tips for law applications. My first tip is start early, and if you're watching this and you haven't started early, I also wouldn't worry. But I think if you start earlier, you have a lot more time for research, you're going to be a lot less stressed, you're going to be rushing them less, and I just think it's a good idea to sort of start early. At the beginning of the application cycle, a lot of firms also recruit on a rolling basis, which means that as spaces fill up, it's a little bit harder, or you might be less likely to then secure an interview from your application. I would then say sort of work out how many firms you want to apply for. So I made a list of the firms I wanted to apply to. I did the ones that I definitely wanted to apply to in green, and then I did orange ones underneath, and then purple ones underneath. And from that, you can kind of work out how many firms you think you need to apply to, think about how much time you have to do that, when the deadlines are coming up, and then sort of split them up accordingly. So I aimed to apply for 2 a week. I think I ended up applying for 10 in total. I'm not 100% sure that I actually hit 2 a week for every single week, and that is quite a heavy workload, but I think it's a good idea to sort of mentally know how you're going to space out these applications. Another tip that I would say is you will know that commercial awareness is really important, having a broad understanding of sort of things that are going on in the business world and what that might mean for the firm. So I would say start doing that while you're doing your applications. I think it's a good time to start, a good place to start. So I was listening to the Financial Times morning briefing every morning, because obviously you need to build up this commercial awareness over time. It's not something you can really do just before an interview. And then obviously nearer interviews and sort of nearer assessment centres, I then started doing a little bit more reading. So I'd read some articles, opinion pieces and things like that a little bit nearer to the time. But I think doing the morning briefing every day sort of gave me a really good overview of what was going on. Another tip that I found really helpful is that for the commercial awareness questions, you're not expected to know everything in really fine detail. You don't necessarily have to know all the really nitty-gritty points. So the next tip is obviously research the firms really in depth. So that could be by going on their website, obviously, to start with, having a look at any deals, having a look at any blogs that they have. I think that was a really good place to start for me. And then also attending any events that they host. So law fairs will perhaps be in person this year, but I attended law fairs online, events online that were hosted with firms I might be interested in. Also, if you are able able to connect with people you know, so perhaps people that go to your university that are a future trainee solicitor at a firm that you'd like to apply to, or any of that sort of stuff. If you can see someone that you might be able to connect with on LinkedIn and ask if you can ask them a couple of specific questions, and obviously be really gracious and grateful, because not everyone will reply, not everyone has the time to give you, but if people do reply and are able to answer your questions, I think that can be really helpful. But obviously be really gracious. And once you have spoken to people and attended these events, you can write about things that you've learned, people that you've spoken to, and all of the things that sort of made you really sure that you want to be applying to this firm from your research. And that really shows that you are committed to this firm and you know that you want to be applying to this firm because you've done really good research on it. So another tip is that in your research, I think you'll quite often hear like buzzwords that a firm will use, or specific competencies they say that they want their trainees to have. So you can reuse these and see like, what are they looking for and how can I demonstrate this in my application, in my cover letter. So I would sort of like pull them out in my research and like highlight the words, either use that word or a synonym, and sort of like demonstrate how I'd really shown this and how through my experience I have demonstrated that I have these skills, and this is a competency that I'm strong on. And it also really shows that you understand what the firm are looking for, and if you can really link this back to specific examples of your ways of working and how you've demonstrated this in your experiences, I think that's a really good way to strengthen your application. And then off of the back of that, I think you'll probably have heard this before, but this is really important, that you make each application specifically tailored to each firm. And I think if that means that you end up applying to a few less firms, to make sure that these applications are really quality and you know that you want to be applying to this firm from all of your research and all of your application, then that's probably a good sacrifice to make, to say, you know, I want to be here over other firms. And firms can often seem quite similar, so it's finding those differentiating factors and saying, I'm really suited to this firm and I have potential to do well at this firm because of these differences, and this is how I sort of match to your ways of working. So if they have a different way of carrying out work that you found through their promotional materials or any of your research, or if they have a different way of dividing practice areas, if they have a different approach to specialisms, a strength in certain departments, a strength in innovation, you can really link this to your own competencies and experiences and how you've demonstrated this in the past, and link that back to why you then think you're really well suited to this specific firm. And I think it's all about showing sort of why you think you'd be a good fit for the firm and why you think the firm would be a good fit for you, because it's sort of a two-way thing. So the next thing that I think is really, really important is be honest. So if you get to the interview stage and you've written a cover letter and a CV, you will be asked questions on your CV and cover letter. So it's really important that you're honest and you can defend what you've said, you can expand on what you've said, and you can sort of remember all of these things that you've said and speak about them. It's really important that you're actually just very honest in the first place. And I think that they'll definitely be able to tell if you sort of make stuff up, exaggerate, or change it around. Another thing I would say is that legal and non-legal work experience are both really valuable. So if you've not managed to get a huge amount of legal work experience, maybe because you don't know as many people, and obviously with the whole climate, like the pandemic and everything, it's been really difficult to get in-person experience or even online experience. So I think just making the most of what you can get experience of, hospitality, retail, all of that gives really, really good transferable skills and is still really valuable to an application. I think it's just important to look at the question, think what it's asking you, and use a few really good examples that are most relevant to the question, and that can be legal or non-legal work experience. But it's also probably quite important to give a broad overview of all of your experience and you as a person. Another tip that I picked up from another YouTuber, I think she's called Chelsea, was to use figures to support your answer. So depending on your experience, this will vary, but when I was speaking about growing my YouTube channel when I was applying, I put the number of subscribers and sort of like how long it had taken me and spoke about that sort of stuff. And I think it's been recommended to sort of use figures to really back up your examples with tangible results. And finally, just a sort of general point is to make sure you're answering the question and back it up with examples. Show them, don't just tell them. I think I've been told that quite a lot of times. You need to back it up with examples and evidence it, and then again, as I've said, link it back to why you think that makes you a good fit for the firm. Those are all of my tips. I really hope that's been helpful. Let me know if you'd like to see any other sort of videos relating to the application process, the interview process, and all of that sort of stuff. Hopefully I will be doing some more, and I really hope this has helped. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you have enjoyed the video, and don't forget to use my code Libbie35 for 35% off the Mindfull Learning guides. And thank you again to them for sponsoring today's video. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.